Hi, in this video, I'm gonna show you how you can use your custom domain for your Boost links. So this tutorial is going to be a very basic step-by-step tutorial. So if you already know how you can set up your CNAME, how you can point your domains to Boost, how you can set up SSL, you can skip this tutorial and just follow the summary steps right here. So this tutorial will be very basic and I'm gonna explain a lot of details in this tutorial. So let's get started. So here are the steps that you need to follow in order to set up your custom domain for your opt-in links. The first step is to add your domain in your Boost custom domain settings. So you can get to this settings by going to setup and go to custom domains. So the first option here is where you put your custom domain. You can put your main domain or any subdomain that you need to use. In this case, I'm going to use my main domain right here. This option is only for agency users. So basically what it is it allows agency users to set up a login portal for clients to log in so that people don't see Boost.link domain when they log in. The next option is for setting up a redirect URL so you can redirect your visitors when they visit the root domain. If you don't set this URL, your visitors will be redirected to my.boost.link when they visit the custom domain that you set up right here. So in this case, I'm gonna leave this field blank, so my visitors will go to this custom domain and they will be redirected to this my.boost.link subdomain right here. So basically, this step is very simple. You just need to specify what you want to use as your custom domain or subdomain. Keep in mind that you can use your subdomain right here as well. So if you are already hosting your website on your main domain and you want to use a subdomain for this, you need to specify the subdomain right here. The next step is to decide whether you want to create an SSL certificate or not. If you don't want to create an SSL certificate, you can use Cloudflare to point your domain to Boost. If you want to create and manage the SSL certificate yourself, because right now the SSL certificate cannot be auto-renewed in Boost, so once in a while you need to update your SSL certificate. So with the Cloudflare method, you won't need to set up your SSL certificate. Now let me walk you through what you need to do when you set up A or B. So let's say that you want to set up your own SSL certificate. So first of all, follow this tutorial right here to create your SSL certificate for your domain, and then enter the SSL certificate information in here. In this case, I'm just gonna leave it blank, but keep in mind that you need to have your SSL certificate to be able to use Boost links, because the social apps, they require your custom domains to have a secure connection. So once you have set up and entered your certificate in here, click on Save Changes, and that will add your domain to our system. The next step for your domain to work is to point your domain to Boost. So keep in mind that we are still following path A right here, which is setting up a CNAME to point it to Boost.link. So the next step that you need to do in order to set up a CNAME for your domain is to find out where you are managing your DNS records. So you can find out where you're managing your DNS records by following this tutorial right here, and I will also leave this tutorial under the video description. So there are several cases where you are managing your DNS record. So basically, where you are pointing your name servers to is where you are managing your DNS record. Case number one, you are managing your DNS records inside your domain registrar, like in this image shown here. So for example, I am using Porkbun as my registrar, and I'm using the default name servers of Porkbun. So that means I'm managing the DNS records of my domain inside Porkbun, and the DNS records determine where you point your domain to. So let's say that your website hosting, your hosting provider IP address is this. if you want your domain to be able to be hosted on your hosting, then you need to create an A record to point your domain to your hosting IP address right here. So your DNS records will determine where you point your domain to. So you need to find out whether you are using your default DNS records management inside your domain registrar, or in case number 2, whether you are managing your DNS records in your hosting provider. So you can tell if you are managing your DNS records in your hosting provider if you are using the name servers of your hosting provider. So let's say that I'm using bluehost.com for my website, and in my domain registrar, instead of the default name servers, my name servers is ns1.bluehost.com, for example. That means that my DNS is managed inside Bluehost. So if my DNS records are managed inside Bluehost, if I go to the registrar and I edit a record in here, it won't be effective because the DNS, the records are managed inside the DNS management of the hosting. In case number 3, you are using Cloudflare for your domain. So in this case, you need to choose path B right here, which is an easier path because you're already using Cloudflare for managing your DNS records. Now that you have determined whether your DNS is managed in your registrar, your hosting, or Cloudflare, then you need to go to your DNS management and follow this tutorial. Basically, what you need to do is to point the domain that you want to use via CNAME to Boost.link. And if you are an agency user, you need to point the login portal that you set up right here, login at yourdomain.com, or you can use anything, any other subdomains would work in this case. You need to point this login portal to my.boost.link via CNAME. So again, go to where you are managing your DNS records. It's going to be either your registrar or your hosting provider. So that is path A, creating a CNAME for your domain to be used with Boost.link. Now let's go to path B right here. With path B, we have a tutorial down right here where you can use and follow to set up your domains via Cloudflare and point it to Boost. So what that means is that you will need to change your name servers. If you are managing your DNS records in your registrar, then you will need to change the name servers, and the DNS records will now be managed inside Cloudflare. That means that you won't be able to manage your DNS records inside your registrar or your hosting anymore. Cloudflare DNS management will determine where you will be pointing your domains to. And if you follow the Cloudflare setup process, your current DNS records in your registrar or your hosting provider will be preserved. So any website or subdomains that you are pointing your domain to will be continue to work properly if you follow the Cloudflare step-by-step process. So to clarify on this, if you are using your domain registrar to manage your DNS records and you're pointing your website to this IP address via a record, when you change the name servers to Cloudflare, Cloudflare will automatically get the current record that you're using and point your website to the right IP address. In case it doesn't get the right records automatically, you need to add your records inside the Cloudflare DNS records management so that your domain, your website, and your subdomains continue to work properly. So again, you can find the specific tutorials for Cloudflare or CNAME method right here. The next step to be able to use your custom domains is to set up your custom apps. Again, we also have specific tutorials here on how you can set up specific custom apps for your social networks. So if you go here, you can find the custom apps tutorial for existing social networks available on Boost. So after you set up your custom apps, go to Boost, Custom Social Apps, and then add your apps right here. You need to enter the name of your social app and the credentials that will be found after you set up your apps on social networks such as Facebook. And each custom app is going to be linked to a custom domain. You can choose to link this custom app to any custom domain that you have set up. So let's say that I set up this custom app for this domain right here. If I select this, this means that this custom app is linked to this custom domain. And when I create a link with this custom app, I can select it right here. If you have multiple custom apps, you can select which one you want to use for the link that you're creating right here. And you don't need to select your custom domain when you create a Boost link, because the custom app here is already linked to your domain, and we will automatically show the custom domain that is linked to this app after you create the link. So that is a step-by-step explanation on how you can set up your custom domain with Boost. If you are an agency, you can follow this tutorial on how you can create a white label login portal for your clients. And please make sure to follow these specific tutorials to set up your custom domains and custom apps for your Boost links.